A very good morning to you from Watkins Glen International. We're in upstate New York for round 5 of Ferrari Challenge North America 2025. Look at that absolutely stunning backdrop, and if you watch the titles there, you've seen some of the beautiful sights of this part of the world. It really is a stunning circuit. It's a proper roller coaster, a bit different to where we've been for the last few races. Here, look at this. Look at these sections of track out the back. We'll be guiding you through, of course, as we get into qualifying. You can take a look around this incredible venue with us. Sonoma Raceway was where we started the season. That's probably the track which is most like this one this season. Then Daytona International Speedway, Miami Autodrome, the F1 track. We were the first series to go there that was not F1. Indianapolis Motor Speedway last time out for some fantastic racing. Watkins Glen now, then Laguna Seca, and of course the finale Mondiali at the end of the season as well. It is great to be here in beautiful green New York State. Let's take a look around Watkins Glen. So this is the track which the drivers will be racing on today. There's a lot of roads there. I'm not going to lie, I've been lost a few times finding my way around between the announcing booth and the paddock, but it is a brilliant track. Downhill, turn 1, turn 2 there, uphill very fast, 3 and 4, up to the bus stop chicane, 172 miles an hour at the braking zone there. Turn 5, the carousel, turn 6 heading into the boot by the laces, the toe and the heel on the way out. A very technical turn 9, 10 and 11. There is the bus stop at the back. It's pretty open on the way in. And we'll talk you through that in just a moment as well. Track temperature 31 degrees, air temperature is 25. It's about 5 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. Humidity is up, wind is up a little. That can make a difference through turn 2 in particular. The cars are ready to head out. We are good to go. My name's Andrew Coley. Reporting from the paddock is Nina J. Paul. But joining me in commentary this weekend, delighted to welcome Shay Adam. Shay, so good to have you with us. You are a regular here. I'm not. It's an incredible track. I can't wait to see everybody attack it properly.
Yeah, this track is legendary, and it is the track that people dream about as a child because Watkins Glen International has had so much history. This used to be the site of the original U.S. Grand Prix. We've had so many Formula One races across the circuit in the decades preceding this one, and including all throughout the 70s and 80s. This is the legendary circuit that people all over the world would look forward to. And now our drivers in Ferrari Challenge North America get to go out there and have a crack at the 3.4 miles.
Yeah, they are super lucky, aren't they? We've been to some incredible venues. I was walking through town yesterday. There's like the Walk of Champions up the sidewalk. Yeah. It's an epic place, it really is. The list of names on that is incredible. We're going to head down to the pit lane. I mentioned her once already, but Nina J. Paul is with us. Nina Jade.
Hello, Andrew, and it's so good to be back, I must say, especially standing in this legendary pit lane that is Watkins Glen. It's a circuit known for its rich history, like you said, Shay, stunning scenery, making it a favourite amongst our drivers. Now, the circuit offers a unique blend of high-speed straights, elevation changes and technical corners. I am currently down in the pit lane, and even at this time in the morning, it is very warm. Humidity is quite high, but speaking to a few drivers yesterday, tyre degradation isn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, so it's something that's going to have to be managed throughout the weekend. What is a concern for a few of our drivers is the weather. Whilst it is currently dry, there are some ominous clouds in the sky. Yesterday during our official practice sessions, it did downpour, and the rain heavily affected visibility and of course the grip of the cars, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. But we are in the latter stages of Ferrari Challenge North America 2025, meaning the stakes are extremely high. Any errors made this weekend could be championship defining. The pressure is on. The drivers have to bring their A game. Throwing it back to Andrew and Shay is going to talk us through qualifying.
Thank you, Nina Jade. Great to hear from her down the pit lane. Wasn't with us in Indianapolis, so welcome back to the team. And we've got our drivers rolling out, ready to go. Remember, it is 4 times 12-minute qualifying sessions, so they really don't have much time to get it right. They'll be hoping for no red flags. We have had some of those incidents during the course of the year. Shay, it's just about enough time to get your tyres up to temperature and get a couple of flying laps in. If there are any stoppages, it really is disrupting for the drivers, but that's the way it goes. You can't afford to wait around for a safe lap at the end of the session.
No, you can. When you look at it on paper, you've got a 12-minute session, which means with 2-minute lap times, roughly 2-minute lap times, you should be able to get 6 laps in. Well, no. Then you have to factor in the out lap, the in lap, the fact that you're going to have traffic. Some laps are going to be flyers. Some laps are going to be trying to find the pace in the car. How many laps is it going to take to get the stickers off the Pirelli tires before they're ready to rumble? And that means that the man who is at the biggest advantage right now out of everyone is Bruce Cleveland. As we were getting the camera shots from the fantastic Mauro Fischer down there in the pit lane for us. Watch out, he does some pretty interesting things with the camera. So thanks for those, Mauro. But it was Bruce who left the pit lane first. So the driver of the number 158 machine, he is going to have this advantage over all the rest of the competition.
Yeah, clear track in front's what you want, isn't it? If you can get everything up to temperature and away as you would like. You've got 4 categories, remember, in Ferrari Challenge. We're starting with Pirelli AM, then Pirelli, then we have Shell AM, and then Shell after that, each with their own sessions to get going in. Waiting for our timing screen to update. Nobody has completed the lap yet, clearly.
Oof, big wiggle out there for the number 17. That's Dan Manganewski, Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale, represented for Dan. And he just had a little too much brake bias toward the rear of the car, and it gave a big wiggle as he was coming into the heel of the boot. It's a tricky area, but thankfully he's got a very good driver coach behind him who can say, hey, scale it back a little bit. Let's remember, we need to get heat in the brakes to get heat into the tires. But the more important thing is that we get out there and we keep the car on the road. Now, one guy...
Talking of that, yeah, this Michael Mathers, yesterday we were sitting chatting and there was a noise which made everybody stand up and run to the windows.
Yes, a big squeal coming into turn 2. Michael Mathers had an issue in the rear of the car, at the left rear. It was something beyond his control, not a driver error. Something broke within the car. Some spectators actually finding Michael to let him know what they had seen. His left front wheel departed the car after he hit the barriers the second time. That actually finished at the top of the S's, but it means that Michael is not driving his car anymore this weekend. He is in a backup car. Thankfully, his team, Ferrari of Central New Jersey, have other cars, and he's in the spare car of Jeffrey Nunberg. Now, Jeffrey is associated with the Ferrari of Central New Jersey dealership, so I'm sure he was more than happy to lend a car to his teammate. And Michael Mathers, the Canadian, who's had quite a bit of success at this very circuit in his early days, he's now back on the track. And when I talked to Michael yesterday, we were a little upset over the accident and how that had happened. And I said, but Michael, I've interviewed you here before. And he sort of leaned back up. He got that confidence back and went, yeah, you did. And it was raining then too. So please start doing the rain dance for Sunday.
But yeah, he's up for the wet weather, I'm sure. There's a number of drivers who are not. I mean, lots of people who haven't been in the wet at all. We're seeing now get a Sven Slavas in the 59. We'll try and talk you through some of the various turns as well. I think one of the things that yesterday was apparent to me coming here for my first time, and some of the drivers have been here before, some not, was the word intimidating kept coming up in terms of the track. And when you look at it, it's a wonderful venue, but look how close the Armco is at the side of the track. There's very little runoff in a number of places. Mathers had that problem. Who was it that we spoke to as well? Lewis Flory. He had 140 mile an hour off here last year. Again, not his fault. And if something goes wrong and you end up in the wall, it's still, even though it wasn't your mistake, you still turn into that corner the next few times going, okay, come on, you know, you want it to go the way you want it to go.
It's almost worse when it's not your
Yes,
fault.
because it's out of your control.
Exactly.
And racing drivers are particularly controlling.
Yes, they tend to like to be in control. As we see Matthew Deal, Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale, out there in the number 39 machine. Again, everybody's still coming up to temperature with the tires and the brakes. Nobody really pushing as hard as they can yet. But when the race car driver feels like something happened within his control, his mistake, her mistake,
they'll own it.
It's easy for them to correct it, because then they can make the change in their brain. When it's somebody else's fault or
a component,
something going wrong, that's the worst feeling, particularly at a place like, say, the bus stop. We've had a couple of drivers had major issues at the bus stop this weekend. That is the ultimate slap as far as confidence goes. So the fact that these men and women can get back in the car and put the right foot flat to the floor, that's a testament to their bravery.
Yeah, absolutely agree. You'd be amazed how many racing drivers don't like flying. The reason they don't like flying is they're not driving the plane. And it's, I think it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, a lot of them don't like it. So you were looking at Ophir Levy in the beige colour car. He's out on his warm-up lap. Now we are starting to see some laps coming in. which is good. So 147.4, we'll expect that obviously to change a bit more. You can see the height of the curbs there. That's caused some drivers problems on the exit of 2. Shay, you were telling me that if they do run out over the curb, that rise in the curb can be enough to send them off.
It can, and we see a lot of people who go a little bit too far at the exit of turn 1, then spear back across the track into the, well, before the apex of turn 2 even. In other series, we've had that be a big issue so far here at Watkins Glen this year. I don't think that's caused any incidents so far this week, though, for Ferrari Challenge. Our drivers being a little bit more circumspect and, dare I even say it, better behaved than some of the professionals in the bigger series.
They were told to behave in Indianapolis last time out. I know they got a fairly firm driver's briefing about tidying things up, and we did. We had some great racing at Indy. As a weekend, I really enjoyed it from the racing point of view. We had very few yellow flags. I might have had one full course yellow, which lasted a minute. It was really good. Full race distances, and I think the drivers, when they realise that if you have these incidents, you lose race time. It's so frustrating to go somewhere and not get your full minutes in the car. And we had a great weekend, so I hope we'll have more of that here. This weekend too. Track limits there, we can see a car run wide there. They are policing that hard at turn 1.
And turn 9 at the exit there.
Is that 9 there?
Well, it was turn 8 where he broke the track limits, but at turn 9 as well, it was where the yellow Ferrari on our screen at this moment, car number 21 of Kevin Gutierrez, he just went slightly too wide at turn 9 as well. Turn 8, if you put 4 wheels on the curbing, you're okay, but if your wheels are over the curbing and no longer touching it, it's considered no longer on the racing surface. Same rules apply to turn number 1. So if you're on the red, blue, and yellow, you're still by race control deemed all right, you're on the racetrack, we know you're trying. Going to the top of the charts, though, is Brad Favre, who takes provisional pole position. So that was a big moment for Brad Favre. He's gotten 3 poles so far this year, and now he looks to be going on another fast one, but he's caught a bit of traffic, so this lap will not be as quick for Brad.
Absolute nightmare. You can see a huge time loss there. They're monster curves on the way in and on the way out. And one of the problems he's got here, of course, is the driver in front hasn't seen him yet.
Yeah, and again, different drivers at different paces on their lap, worrying about getting heat into the tires and brakes, working themselves into a situation where they are ready to go. Sebastian Mascaro is currently second in the running. Then Ophir Levy, as we get a look at Robert McWilliams. Robert moving up in classes a few years ago. He had a very quick progression up through the ranks. He was a podium contender very early on in his career. So going to be very interesting to see what Robert can do in this car for this qualifying session.
Mathes has just gone P2, so despite that off, the confidence is still high, just 600ths off the pace of Favre, 2/10 back to Burrows. Mascaro only 5/10 off. That's Sebastian Mascaro you're looking at now, who's definitely going slowly there, so he may have quit his run. There is a little bit of tactics here in terms of, one set of tyres to use during quali in the race, and we have seen if tyre deg is particularly high, drivers go out and only do a few laps in quali if they want it for the race. But what's the general tactics here?
For this track, it was recently resurfaced about a decade ago now, actually. Kind of funny to think about that already happening.
That's still recent,
It's still recent.
Time flies,
But this part of the world has very harsh winters. Upstate New York is known for getting a lot of snow, so it would be a track that's been exposed to more difficulty than, say, Sonoma International Raceway if they were to repave all of Sonoma. And it's one of those things that you do have to be cognizant of that, but the track surface is fairly smooth. I walked the circuit about a month ago, and there's no outlying areas where the track feels particularly abrasive. There's no sandpapery areas, and it does have really good grip. That will come into play more tomorrow when we are looking at the forecasts and aware that there's a lot of blue on the radar. So that will be more of an issue for the rubber keeping on the track. But for today, it should be good and smooth and clean the whole way through, and it shouldn't be any kind of tire drop off throughout this entire qualifying session.
Let's see if we keep an eye on Mathes, who say was P2. Hasn't used all the track on the exit there, but does still seem to be on a push lap. We'll know when he gets to the loop at the end of the lap. So say only 600ths off.
Yeah. Which is a great effort for Michael Mathes, driving this car for the first time the weekend.
Yeah.
Right now, he's had 10 minutes in the car.
And that's why the T is on the side of the car. Doesn't go quicker this time round, 4.7 off, so he's definitely on a slow down lap. Now that might be a rest lap before he goes again. And you can see the height of the curbs, which you were talking about on the exit of turn 1 there as well.
Well, and it's physical not only for the tires, but for the drivers too. So giving yourself that couple of moments to breathe, maybe flex the fingers, relax for just a half of a breath, it makes a big difference. This guy who never takes a breath, Dave Musial, love this man. He's got the Joker on the side of the car. Very fun guy. He and his son 2.0, they're big into ice cream. This region is very well known for ice cream, so they go out every night when they've had a good day. They go out when they've had a bad day, get an ice cream together, debrief. It's exactly what you want to see.
Sure, but yeah, that's the racing drivers. You know, good day, bad day. For me, I'll probably go and have an adult beverage, but they can't really do that during the middle of a race weekend. So we'll take ice cream. You know, that's fine too.
Well, and it's all about family, and you've got the Musials out there. You've also got Greg Hopkins, who's up on the screen now. He's racing in a livery that matches that of his father-in-law, Roy Carroll. So Greg's out there in the number 14. We're going to see the Be Safe livery later on when the Coppa Shell cars are out for qualifying, and Roy goes out in the number 121. But Greg Hopkins, very impressive when he came on the scene out of nowhere as Gerdes Venslovis is off the track. I think that might be turn 6.
Hasn't made it to the wall from the looks of things.
Carousel,
Can't see the left side of the car, but it's not crabbing. Doesn't seem to be any damage. Both mirrors are on it. There are often little telltale signs that you can see, you know, the rear wing or the mirrors as to whether or not somebody has reached the side of the track. But he has got that part. We've got 25 seconds left. If he's on the exit of 6, it's going to be a yellow flag at least in there. Flashing lights here as well as we see people trying to complete their last flying laps. 10 seconds left on the clock. If you're on your flyer at that point, you're looking at Michael Porter. That's not Michael. Yes, it is Michael Porter. Sorry, he's P8 at the moment. 0.6 off. So checker flag is out. So say Mathes takes the checker in P2. So Mathes just 600ths off Brad Falvera. Is Falvera in the pit?
No, he's still on the track.
So yes, it was interesting yesterday talking, but this wasn't the Pirelli guys. Some of the Shell guys were saying that their consistency meant they were still putting in great laps on tyres which were considerably older. Venslovis has come round the shortcut.
Yes.
So Venslovis has taken the NASCAR shortcut down to turn 9, so obviously doesn't want to bring the car in on the racing line. He might wait there, I suppose, until the last car comes through.
Yeah, and the race control is very clear with drivers about taking the shortcut. They say if you have an emergency, please take it.
Sorry to interrupt, Falvera's gone quicker on his final lap. So Falvera, sorry to interrupt, has gone quicker by nearly 0.4 of a second. So just as we were saying about some of the Shell guys who don't use the tyres quite so hard, Falvera's proved you can do a lap. What lap was he on? Lap number 6. Falvera has banged in 0.4 of a second quicker. Sorry, Shay, you were saying about race control.
And his lap before was actually a cool-down lap, so that was a perfect example of Brad Falvera taking that moment to try and prepare himself, and it did. It did make a big difference. Bruce Cleveland qualifying in the P9 position, who is still on a flyer. We've got Dan Manganewski does not improve, so he will start P13 at a best. And still going around, Ray Acosta just sees the checkered flag in the 5th position. And Jay Logan with a very good qualifying effort into P6. But yes, race control telling drivers if you have an issue in the first part of the track and you don't want to take the car back through the boot, you can take the cut through. The lap that you were on will not count. So obviously if you're shortcutting about a mile of the track, you're not going to gain any form of advantage. But that is a safety thing. So it's good to see that Gerdes Venslovis was listening to race control before, and I'm sure they'll give him a little tip of the cap in the drivers meeting following this qualifying session.
I always think it's good when you see a driver who's got that kind of awareness. Don't want to ruin anybody else's lap. It's what I call a really gentlemanly gesture. I love to see when a driver is aware of everybody else's experience around the track, not just completely focused on their own. So good stuff from Venslovis. Where did he end the session? P10. So if there was an issue with the car, it's not terrible. He's 1.4 off, 0.2 off the previous, and we now have our Pirelli drivers getting ready to go. But let's take a look at the results of Pirelli AM. So on the pole is Brad Falvera, and just looking down here, that is Brad's fourth pole of the year. Yeah, 1 in Sonoma, 1 in Daytona, 1 in Miami, so just missing the set with Indy because he's got a pole here as well. So Brad Falvera with the 4th pole position. Michael Mathes P2, Burrows, Mascaro, Acosta, Logan, Levy and Porter are your top 8, just a second across those. Cleveland, Venslovis, Musial, Hopkins, Magnazuski, DL and Bergeron down to P15. And then we have McWilliams and Gutierrez.
Most important thing for Brad Favre is that pole position point, because he is our championship leader. So with 240 points now, that moves the gap to 9 over Sebastian Mascaro. That will be what Brad was thinking about, I'm sure, going into this qualifying session, and what his coach Scott Andrews would have been telling him, mate, remember, championship, end of the year, we got to think big picture.
I like the fact he went for one last push lap, comes in, very happy, you know, to have got the job done on that last lap, P1, he knows it. Where did Mascaro finish? The timing screen's updated already, so I can't see on mine.
Already
I'm not sure
gone.
where he was,
Not in the top 3.
Okay, so for him, ideal if Sebastian's a little way further back. I mean, if you look at it, Brad's had 5 wins this year. Sebastian's been on the podium 6 times, so between them they are super consistent compared to the rest of the field. Lots of people with the occasional good result, but those two guys right up there. Mascaro's row 2, P4. Thank you to Amanda, our producer. So, P4. Okay, so he's still in the mix. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be very interesting, particularly given which row goes better, because just because you're on pole doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get the same level of acceleration as the outside lane. It's going to be something to keep an eye on, and I like the fact that they're in different rows. But again, you need to know the rules. Race control will drum this up in the drivers' meeting. Don't change lanes before the start-finish line.
Yeah, we've had penalties for that already this year. So Nina Jade has managed to grab our poleman Brad Favre. Let's head down there and hear his thoughts. That is his 4th pole position of the 4th of the year.
Brad, congratulations. Like Andrew just said, that is your 4th pole of the season. How was that for you?
Pole's always the best thing you can get in the morning, so super happy with it. Yeah, super happy. The track's nice and hooked up this morning, and the team did a great job with the car.
You put in a faster lap there at the end of quali as well. You went quicker. You've been strong all season. What is the key to your pace so far this season, Brad?
Look, it's just being clean, right? I'm really focusing on hitting my apexes and getting cleaner, so I'm just getting a little less messy.
I saw your team cheer for you. They're very, very happy. Congratulations. Good luck in the race.
Appreciate that. Thanks. Take care.
I love that. How kind. A little take care at the end. We got some lovely, lovely people in this series that we really have. Great atmosphere down at Casa Ferrari. That overlooks turn 2 and the run up to turn 3 by the S's. Yesterday we had a few rain showers. We are expecting some potentially heavy rain tomorrow, and that is going to be really interesting because I say a number of drivers haven't had those conditions. Certainly, we haven't had any rain this season. We had one rain shower at Indy. It was bizarre. They turned into turn 1, and you looked further up the track, and there was a perfect line, like somebody spray painted rain across the track, and it missed us by 2 minutes in terms of rain. But we haven't had any wet running at all this year, and I think it'll be very challenging tomorrow, particularly here with the elevation change.
Well, that goes to show you that someone upstairs is a big fan of racing cars.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't they be?
Exactly.
Who doesn't like racing cars, particularly Ferraris, you know?
There is something spectacular about seeing Ferraris in the rain dancing around this track. The pictures are just magnificent. As the green flag is out, we are already 15 seconds into this session, and the first car on the racetrack was last year's champion, Dylan Medler, in the number 15 for the collection.
Yeah, the Perinas are right there behind him. That's been the story of this year, really, Medler, Perina, and also Kaminsky. So we're going to have to talk about this. I was annoyed about this. Johnny Kaminsky's not allowed to race here. Now, I'm a Brit, so, you know, I'm kind of used to our rules. That there are, of course, rules for every series on what level a driver can race at a certain age. You have to come up through, but because of the ownership of this circuit, there's a different rule, and Kaminsky can't race. I'm gutted about that. I really wanted to see him, but I get it. Rules are rules.
Yeah, he's not yet a legal adult, so he's not allowed on the racetrack. Very simple. The insurance rules and regulations of this being an ISC on track. It's very straightforward. So unfortunately for Johnny, that he's not allowed on the racetrack because he's just too young, but that doesn't mean he's not here. And it doesn't mean he hasn't been learning. He's been working behind the scenes with his team, finding out the other intricacies of being a part of a race team, such as manning the fire bottle during refueling, doing little things like
the fun stuff.
Exactly, helping the team set up the tent. You know, all the dirty grunge work the drivers don't get involved with. His dad has made sure. Brian said, no, kid, you're going and you're working.
But that kind of work ethic will put him in good stead. It's also an appreciation for the people behind you, like us on TV. We're the people who do the talking. There's a bunch of people out there who are working arguably a lot harder than me and Shay, and they're operating cameras out in the rain. They're rigging, all the rest of it. And when you're in a race team, it's exactly the same. Yeah, you're the driver. You're the guy or girl who gets to stand on the podium. You are not the person who has to fix the car when you fired it into the wall and they're up till 3 a.m. And I think for Kaminsky that would be a brilliant experience. But that's not to say he isn't a super polite young man already, and I suspect he'd be the first person to go and thank his team when he's had a good result. But it is good to do those other jobs and to see where other people's stress points are during the day. I think it helps the growth process as a professional.
For sure. Speaking of professionals out there on the racetrack, we've got Brian Cookie Cook back again this weekend. He missed Indy because he was on vacation with his family back down in Oz. And Brian is a guy who loves racing so deeply. If he could be doing this every weekend, he would. But of course, he understands family time equally as important, and his wife and kids really enjoyed the time that they had. So he's looking to bring home a couple of trophies as a thank you to them for letting him go on the vacation and then come back.
No, that's cool. He did Sonoma and he did Miami. He missed Daytona and Indy. So lots of our drivers have, as I say, family or business commitments and dip in and out of the series as they would like to, which is great for us. We get different form in different places. Okay, so Medler and Perina together out on track. Medler has rolled off seemingly and let Perina through, unless he's got an issue. He might be wanting to follow Perina and see. I looked at the times, it was interesting. They both skipped different sessions in the official practice sessions. Medler sat one out, Perina sat one out. I don't think there's anything in that. They've finished since Wednesday doing tons of laps. Yeah, there's a point at which you go, I've done enough laps in the race car. Also, the conditions changed a bit yesterday, and you maybe weren't looking for the wet data at the time, or maybe the car wasn't ready to run in the wet. So, yeah, interesting in terms of pace.
Both drivers ran here last year. Perina finished twice second. Medler had possibly one of his most difficult weekends if you look at consistency across the year. He had worse finishes than a third and a fifth, but he didn't have worse finishes consistently across an entire race weekend. Dylan's been doing a lot of driving this year, though. He's been racing in several different iterations of the Ferrari Challenge, been working with many different driver coaches, so he's been having a lot of seat time. I don't think he's short on time behind the wheel.
Absolutely
and
not.
He certainly feels comfortable around this track, as does Massimo Perina, who's out right now. Massimo, in his, albeit short racing career of just the last year and a bit, has only been off pole in races in which he's participated twice.
Yeah,
that's an incredible record.
He's been a weapon this year. You can see just a glimpse there of the hands on the wheel through as they came out of the bus stop, and he heads into the carousel, the long turn 5. Now down into 6, and he's heading into the boot section of the track. So this is his first real meaningful lap. Falvra has actually just gone quickest with a 1:46.5 as everybody else is finishing their warm-up laps. Yeah, he's been incredibly impressive this year.
And last year. Both races here last year, 2 poles, 2 fast laps, and 2 wins.
Last year, he wasn't in challenge, though, was he, last year?
He was in the 458 class.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's to be first season in the higher category and getting the result. Okay, so wide there. What's the score with track limits there?
That would be off the track.
So you think they'll discount the lap?
Correct.
And what turn is that for everyone?
That's turn 8.
Including me?
That's
8.
the exit of turn 8.
Okay, so we've got turn 1 and turn 8. I know turn 9 is another turn where,
turn 10 is another big one, but he managed to stay well within the bounds of the track.
A 9 with the double cresting, I'm hearing people run wide on that as well.
If they run
on the
wide,
exit.
they're into a barrier.
Okay, right, so sideways on the exit of that one. Yeah. So there's a number of places where people are pushing their luck with track limits. So Perina does go quickest, but you think that lap won't count?
Yeah, he went 4 wheels off the colored curbing at the exit of turn 8, so that should not count. But race control will make that adjudication and then let us know as we now get a glimpse of Tony Davis, the man who always gives us fireworks as he's going around the track once again. Continental Autosports, the team he's been with for a few years now. Champion in a different class of car. That was a couple years back at CSAM. He won the category in 2022, and then they bumped him up straight to Trofeo Pirelli AM, where he finished second 2 years in a row. This man knows how to drive, and for Tony Davis, it's just a question of finding that comfort level. And one thing that I love about Tony is he still's way within the realms of the track limits. Great line through there, Tony. His son loves racing on the sim. He built a really cool racing simulator for himself in his university dorm, and Tony said, maybe I should spend a bit more time on the sim. So then they started racing each other online.
Oh, really?
Really, really cool that it's become a bit of a family affair.
Yeah, sim racing, if you're not familiar, is a fantastic way to learn circuits, to hone your consistency, particularly. There's nothing quite like being in a real car. Obviously, you can't simulate the fear when you have a moment and it's close to the wall and you nearly dropped it, and when you can hit reset, that's not how it works in real life. But still, Medler's still 3.1 off and doesn't seem to have put in a quick lap. Maybe waiting to get the tyres up more to temperature. There's only 4 minutes 30 remaining.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that the gap between Medler and 2.0 has not increased, so it's not as if one or the other is really pushing very hard as behind them as Pirelli.
So Medler that time, though, out towards the wall on the outside. So Medler using the curb on the outside. The exit of turn 11 is crucial if you want a good lap.
Wow.
Is this then going to be the lap? So he's right over the curbs in one. Is that in or not? The white line or the coloured curbs?
You can have wheels touching the colored curbs. If you no longer have
All
part
four.
of your vehicle touching the colored curbs, then you're in trouble, as it was the identical lap time to Massimo Pirelli,
Oh, wow, yes.
145.233, but because Pirelli said it first, that's where the time sticks. As we're getting another view, just kissing the wall. That was a little bit too much for Greyfauver.
I was going to say that's a firm old kiss. And it's parked as well. That's a bit of a nightmare. If that's out on course, we might well end up with a... Depends whether or not it's deemed to be safe. We'll keep an eye on the flag indicators for you.
Well, that was turn 6, and that would have broken the steering on the right front of that
He's
car.
offline. For me, that's safe there.
He's not in a position where many other people would come in at a high rate of speed, as the red flag is out. So that means that it's not going to give any other driver a chance to go, because the clock continues to run. It's 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in this qualifying.
So the interesting thing for me here then was Medler clean on his lap compared to Pirelli? I know you said that because Pirelli did it first, he gets it, and we haven't had any circumstance this year where it's been to the exact thousandth of a second, which it is. So Medler's was on a push lap. I said he was on a push lap coming on to the next lap. He'd been on a push lap the lap before, and we caught him just at the end of it. But will Pirelli's lap be taken away?
And that's the thing we have to keep an eye on from Al Kamel, and whether or not the race control system deems it to be a clean lap, whether race control looks back through. It could actually be something, Andrew, that happens after the fact. Race control could go back and look at the onboard footage.
So what's interesting to me, though, just looking, Pirelli's last lap was a 145.254, so he's gone within 200ths of a second of what he did on the previous one. So even if they take the top lap away, he'll lose pole, but he'll still be on the front row. So regardless of what happens with track limits, it looks like, unless they get the session back underway, which I'm not convinced they will, it looks like we're going to see a Pirelli and Medler front row, which is kind of what we're looking for.
It's very exciting. It's enticing as we got a view down there of the Ferrari of Seattle organization. Jan Bernier getting ready for his qualifying session, watching the onboard from the cars in the Trofeo Pirelli class. We saw Mark Miller, the coach of Brian Cook, clearly still on the radio to him, telling him in this opportunity, all right, mate, you're P4, but here's where you can get those 8/10ths that you're missing. And that's all that it is. It's half a second back to Jason McCarthy in third. Jason with a great qualifying effort as well.
You're right. Let me look at McCarthy so far this year. 9th, 12th, 5th. Qualified 4th in Daytona. So that is McCarthy's best qualifying of the year. If nobody else runs and gets a lap in, McCarthy's best is P3, so inside a row 2. Cook as well has qualified no higher than 6th, so that's a best for Cook as well. So McCarthy and Cook on the row 2, both with their best qualifying efforts of the year. Now, I suppose there is an argument some people might have been prepping for that last flying lap. They might not get it.
No, exactly. There's 1 minute left on the clock. McCarthy is taking his car back to the garage. Last year for Jason McCarthy, Watkins Glen race 1, pole, fast lap, race win. So he clearly has
a place he likes.
A very good affinity to this track. Is out of the vehicle is Massimo Pirelli, getting applause from the family, a hug from Dad. Oh, he'll be a happy bunny after that qualifying performance.
Yeah, I saw Tino yesterday. Bless him, he was asking after Dave Richardson, my predecessor as announcer here. Dave is doing very well. I can tell Tino it was very kind of him to come and ask. Dave continuing to commentate Ferrari Challenge over in the UK and Europe as well. Right, so equal on time exactly. We'll leave that to the stewards. We'll figure it out later. Join us for the race later on this afternoon, and you'll be able to find out who does get poles. At the minute, it's Pirelli, simply because, as Shay said, great, Shay, here's me panicking, looking at what time the race is going to start later. Shay said, it's first person to do the lap owns it.
And the checker flag is officially out as the red still hangs in the air, so we are under a slight delay. You'll notice there's no rumble of Ferrari engines going into the fast lane just yet, as now they're firing up. So we will be able to get things going soon. But before we get back, let's hear from our overall pole sitter, who's with Nina Jade now.
Yes, I'm here with the pole sitter, Massimo Perina. Massimo, yourself and Dylan Medler set exactly the same time, but because you said it first, you are on pole. How are you feeling?
Well, good. I mean, pole is pole, no matter how you get it. I mean, I've always liked to be a little bit faster, but even if we set the same time, I'm happy to be on pole.
You hold yourself to such a high standard as well when it comes to your racing. Just how important is pole and track position here?
Incredibly. I mean, on a track like this where aero downforce is so dependent, the aero wash can really affect your lap, and so being in front and having clean air is really important.
Go well.
Thank you.
Having clean air is very important, and it's something that young man knows a lot about. As Massimo Perina, another pole position on a remarkable Ferrari career thus far.
Look at the rotation, just the tiny bit on the way in. That's absolutely monstering the curbs on the way into the bus stop. And the slowest point on the bus stop is actually just before the second element of it. So that's the first element, the right-left, and then there's a left-right on the way. And yeah, look at that. That's the slowest point, which is some 90 miles an hour. Lifting wheels off the curbs on the inside. Yeah, epic stuff. So here's the results from qualifying. Exactly equal on lap time. Massimo Perina and Dylan Medler on the front row. McCarthy and Cook with their best qualifying performances of the year in P3 and P4. Roberto Perina 5th. Dave Mizial Jr. is 6th. Gray Fowler at 7th. Tony Davis is in P8. And then Ethan McWilliams in P9. So we're still waiting for the recovery of Fowler's car to happen. Did that lap before, just a little barrier tap late in the session. So these guys and girls are going to be sitting in their cars waiting to head on out.
At least race control told them to go into the fast lane and to get ready so that when the moment arrives where it is safe for these cars to be out on the circuit, they can go, go, go. So that means that we will be under as little delay as possible. Massimo continues with the photos and all the celebration. He's well accustomed to this after last year. Remarkable season for the young man.
Right, let's take a look while we wait for the track to get cleared. We've got an onboard lap with Jan Bernier. Shay, maybe you can guide us around this a little bit, unless Jan is. I'm not sure. Let's have a look.
Hi, my name's Jan Bernier. I'm the driver of the number 132 296 Challenge car, and I'm going to take you on a hot lap around Watkins Glen. Coming over the start-finish, looking for the 300 for braking in turn 1. We want to turn down early, taking advantage of the camber and the banking here. Riding up on the first half of the little curve on the right, and then getting the power as soon as possible. On the exit curve, we need to be careful not to exceed track limits. Up through the S's, the key is to remain as flat as possible, lifting as little as possible and early if we need to lift at all. Getting our rides really far forward. We're going to be at the top of the S's at least 150 miles an hour, and probably hitting 170 before we break into the loop. The key to entry into the inner loop is to carry as much speed in the first 2 apexes as possible. We'll run through here in 5th gear, being patient but hopefully not tracking out too far to the right. Back to full power, and we're going to stay flat as long as possible, then fully lift, trying to get the front end to hook up and get us down into the carousel. On the way out of the carousel, we enter the chute. Here we're looking to brake as late as possible in a straight line, and then waiting for the front end to turn down to the apex. When we spot that the tower out to the right, we know we can go back to full power using all the curbing out here, even if we might pick up a little dust occasionally. Into the toe, we're going to brake at 200 in a straight line, wait for the front end again to turn around, and now we're going to try to get to full power as soon as possible, driving it up the hill, because this is a very uphill part of the track and it's important to get a good exit. This weekend we get to roll back to full power here and not have to worry so much about going wide at the exit, so it should be pretty interesting through the race. Full power and then up the hill to the left. This is a tricky turn. We just need to be very patient before we roll the power. The key is to use the hill to slow the car and then get to the apex. Avoid touching the throttle too soon and then using all the exit curbing. The last 2 turns, turn 11, are really part of the same complex. We want to sacrifice the exit at turn 10 here, just rolling it in 5th gear, full power, not going over this exit curve. We can get up against it. Braking at the end of the tire wall here, down to 4th gear, rotate the front of the car, and then full power. Hopefully we end up at the start-finish line with our mirror still attached, but sometimes we don't. And that's the lap around historic Watkins Glen International.
Great stuff from Jan Bernier. One of the things I was really interested to see there is how relaxed he is. And you can see one of the things in the UK, we talk about holding a cup of tea with 2 fingers, and the very posh thing of having 3 fingers out. When you watch Jan, he's holding the wheel literally with a finger and thumb, and the other 3 fingers are off the wheel, even when he's turning in. That just means he's completely comfortable with the delicate touch that's needed for a really mint line. And what you see when drivers are wrestling and they're gripping the wheel is less comfort in that speed. He's very, very comfortable in that car.
Well, would it surprise you to know that the driver coach who worked with him when he first came into this series was a Brit?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. So he's had the tea drinking etiquette, hasn't he?
Correct.
Yeah.
Ian James, who first helped cultivate the love affair that Jan Bernier has had with this series, definitely somebody who's a bit more posh and proper. And it's good to see that Jan has finally started to find more and more success in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He broke through and got his first podium, I think it was 2 years ago, and then he started winning races, and now he's really maneuvered himself into a serious championship contention position. He's almost 20 points ahead of Mitchell Green in second, and if Jan Bernier can come away with pole position in this qualifying session, he will be 20 points ahead. All right, we're on round 5. We still have 6 and the World Finals, but anytime you can have a lead and know that it's the onus of everyone else chasing you to come and snatch it away, it's a much better position to be in.
I think what's incredible as well is that not only does he lead the series by that amount, but his consistency. He's never been off the podium this year, not once. He's been on the podium every single round. And to be fair to Gabe Hribb, who leads Shell AM, he's only missed the podium once in Indy by 1 place. That consistency is really important, but you can be consistent in P4, P5, P6. To be consistently in the top 3 is outrageous.
It is. It's something that's really cool to see. And Gabe Hribb is another one of those drivers finding success more recently. Been in the series for a little while, but moving up and coming through Corsa Pilota, Clienti, just maneuvering through all the steps of the ladder to now be in the big leagues and in Coppa Shell AM. Very stiff competition. You've got people in there. We previously mentioned Jeff Nunberg as being kind enough to lend his teammate Michael Mathis a spare car.
Yeah.
He's been in the series for a long time now. He started to find success as well. Winning a race was fantastic. Lance Cawley is another one of these drivers who's been running in Coppa Shell AM for many years, and he's always a championship contender. So many people that we've associated for a long time with being there or thereabouts, and to have Gabe Hribb, Michael Owens, Lewis Flory, now Melissa Kozira, these drivers coming in and really challenging for podium spots and race wins. That's why we do this.
It proves the ladder works too, and I'm actually really excited. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but you'll see Hribb will almost certainly be up into Coppa Shell next year, and in theory you're going to see probably Bernier and Mitchell Green head up into Pirelli and Pirelli AM. And then we get to see them against the pace again. And the lovely thing is you reach this point where you go, okay, I'm the fastest. And then you go up a class, it's like, ooh, I'm not the fastest. And the work starts again, and you move up. And I was talking with Nina Jade last night over dinner about how dialed in Ferrari is to having people in the series and that lovely feeling of achievement, not banging your head against a brick wall and being P17 the whole time because of these different categories. I think it really works for it to keep the enthusiasm of your clientele.
It certainly does, and we've seen, I talked about Tony Davis and the fact that he came into the series his first year, won the Coppa Shell AM championship and moved up not 1 but 2 classes, and then it was sort of this initial of, oh, I'm not as fast. I'm not. How do I get there? It didn't take him long to figure it out, thankfully. But that's what we love to see. And these categories, all the cars are identical. The thing that makes the difference are the lap times the drivers are capable of achieving. So that's what race control and the Ferrari minds really put a lot of effort into, figuring out which class would be best suited for you. Then if you start running in a class and they think, okay, your lap times match the front of the class down below, they'll move you down. Or if you're blowing the competition out of the water, which we've also seen,
going up.
You're getting moved up.
Yeah. We actually had a driver moved up earlier this year.
You had
straight up after one race, and that was Ernst Kirchmeier, who came to Coppa Shell, got pole and won immediately at the first round in Daytona, and was moved up immediately to the category above. And that was all new to me, being new to Ferrari Challenge. I was like, wow, okay, right, that's some progression. So they are good to go. We do have the car recovered, and the track is in green flag conditions. You can see the little foil blankets heading off the screens. The leaf blowers as well, if you're wondering, yeah, he's not dusting the car. There's no gardening going on down there. It's just to blow some air into the car. It is warm. Temperature is, temperature's still only 24 Celsius. So it's not much warmer than it was earlier on, but as the day goes on today, I think we could see what's the forecast looking like for today? Still dry for today?
Until about 5 p.m. So it could be a wet podium ceremony, which actually...
Well, I mean, it's champagne anyway, so
that's exactly it.
Yeah, arguably, yeah.
We expect to see some showers on the podium, but...
champagne showers normally. Could
exactly.
be rain showers today. But yeah, do join us later on today, and again tomorrow. It's a double-header weekend as always, so we're expecting tomorrow's action to be in the wet, and that'll be the first time for Ferrari Challenge North America this season.
And you know, rain on the podium actually helps the drivers because they've got to put these fire suits back on tomorrow, and if you're getting them cleaned in the podium ceremony by getting them a bit wet, well, maybe that's just helping to eliminate some of the champagne smell. Although it is nice when you walk into the drivers' meeting and you're wearing the winner's hat from the day before. It's a very subtle flex to the competition of, I beat you yesterday,
Yeah,
I can do it again.
It is. Yeah. I thought you were going to say it's very nice when you come in stinking of champagne, and it's not,
No,
is it? It's
no,
horrible.
never.
Like, everyone thinks it looks so cool, and it's not. There's often an agreement between the drivers, no spraying race suits on day one. Some guys have plenty of race suits, and some will only have the one that they'll wear all weekend, and there is nothing worse than a horrible champagne sticky race suit.
Well, and that's why I was saying the rain might help, because it would
Yeah.
help purify some of that
clean everything
smell.
off.
Yeah.
Clean everything off. Yeah, we'll need heavy rain for that, won't we?
Yes.
What do we do if it's heavy rain? We're going to have a heavy rain podium. I'm keen.
Oh, yes.
I'm keen.
Oh, well, I mean, if you've earned these trophies, you don't
You're
care
going
if
to
it's
get
raining.
it. Yeah,
you're
going
to
get
claim it.
Yeah, that's the point at which you're ordering a second race suit anyway, isn't it?
Exactly.
Champagne shower, rain shower, whatever it may be. Wonderful shots here from the drone to give you an idea of the scale of this place and also the elevation change. You can actually see the climb here, which you often can't.
You feel it in your shins after walking the track
Yeah,
just
I'll
a
bet.
couple of times. And that long straight up the bottom of the boot, if you will, you don't realize how far up it goes until you're climbing it, and it doesn't stop. It's one of those things that this part of the world is known for beautiful hikes. You can go hike the gorge.
We did that last night.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's wonderful. Me and Nina J did it. So it was quite late in the day, and but I popped into the tourist information office, which I'm glad. There's two things about it which were exceptional. It's got racing cars in it, which means it's a great tourist information office, and it had a British phone box outside it, which I thought was hilarious. Which I noticed last night has all the leaflets in, and one of those is for the walk up the gorge, the 12 waterfalls inside a mile, Rainbow Falls. It was absolutely stunning. We loved it. There was a shot of Rainbow Falls in the opening titles as well today.
It's such a beautiful
Really
part of the
cool.
world. And
Yeah.
it really gives a good demonstration of the undulation of this track, following a lot of the natural terrain, the up and down bits. Nothing of this was fabricated. It's all how it used to be in the 1950s when this track was opened. And it actually used to run through the downtown area. So that's the cool bit, knowing of this track, that it used to be a lot longer, but it's been this way for quite some time now. Very, very cool to see as Jeffrey Keel is going around on his first flying lap in car number 117 out of Ferrari of Atlanta. Jeffrey, another one of those drivers who's new to this championship. Well, he ran last year, finished 10th in Coppa Shell AM, but didn't get the results that he was looking for. Only 2 top 10 finishes. This season, he's only run on the 2 race weekends, but 2 of those finishes out of the 4 were inside the top 10. So improvement from Jeffrey Keel.
Good stuff. Now, we had a little message from one of the driver coaches saying that IMSA are only going to enforce track limits in turn 1. So we had the question mark earlier over Perina and Medler. They finished on exactly the same time, but we saw Perina go forwards off. What turn was it, Shay?
It was turn 8.
Turn 8. So that doesn't count. Now, in your opinion, is there time to be gained by doing that, or is it just a little? There is.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
Time gained is when you can carry more speed. You can carry more speed through turn 8 if you extend the exit of the track. Too far, you would be losing actually, because you would be putting in much more time trying to cover more distance. But the way that those gentlemen were going, every other series that I've been here with, they have done track limits for that because there is much time to gain.
There
but
we are.
really good to see that the time is sticking for Massimo, and congratulations on that. Another pole, young man. Really proud of you.
Brilliant job. We won't name the driver coach just yet. Let's wait and see if his driver uses the exit of turn 8. So I don't want to get so because I don't want to give it away to anybody else. You know, I'm sure the coaches are across it if they be really interested to see how many people are just going, all right, fine. The other thing is, you know, watching Massimo and seeing him go the other side of the curb, what a driver doesn't necessarily want to do, if you know you're going to run wide, you don't want to ride the curb the whole way. So there's a point at which you open the steering out, let the car go over the back of the curb, and you go, okay, I ran a bit wider than I wanted, but no time lost, no time gained. Now, you're saying there is time to be gained, so there's a bit of both down there, and we'll see as with some of these drivers as well probably won't need to use the track. They won't be pushing it quite the same way as the top Pirelli guys are.
Yeah, and it's also unnecessary risk. You go out over the curb, it unsettles the car. You can wind up having the steering wheel pointing in a direction which you weren't intending. It can lead to some serious trouble. So definitely not surprised to see Pirelli being able to manhandle the car and perfectly place it where he was aiming. It was a beautiful execution, as Lewis Flory actually giving us a great example of what you should do when you're staying well within the bounds of the track limit. He's provisionally P1 right now. He has done a flying lap, 1 minute 51.369 so far for Lewis. We've only had one lap from a lot of the other cars so far, so nobody really getting into the time window.
No, the gaps are big at the top. Looking to say there's only a few people that are onto those quicker laps. And now, Lewis, you may, if you're a regular viewer, you may know, of course, he's the driver formerly known as Louis Flory, because I read his name in typical French style, and much to the hilarity of the family. So we had a discussion. If you watched last time, you'll know that Lewis said, look, I tell you what, I got a great result as Louis. If I get bad results in Indy, you can continue to call me Louis. But if I get good results, let's go back to Lewis. So we've gone back to Lewis. Melissa Kozira, who is up in P3, has been having a brilliant time as well in qualifying. Last time out, Indy, she qualified 4th and 3rd, so also P4 in Miami at the second race. A couple of a 5th and a 7th at Daytona. So Melissa's been qualifying really well this year.
And we talked to her yesterday at lunch. She is excited about the thought of rain tomorrow, so that will be very interesting to keep an eye on.
I'm excited. I really am, because there will be drivers who will absolutely revel in it, and there'll be drivers who will hate it.
And everyone will tell you they're excited for it, but you can see the fear in the ones who are lying.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The fear. I love that. What was the word you used yesterday? Was it severe?
Severe
about the weather. Yeah,
yes.
Severe. So the weather's going to be severe. I was like, ooh. We really mean it.
Yeah.
So it could be harsh. And I mean, looking at the elevation change again, there will be places where the water will run across the racing line diagonally. You guys at home will all know what it's like driving in heavy rain. Then imagine driving as fast as you possibly can in a stiff race car with water running across the track. It gets to be pretty gnarly out there.
And the Pirelli tires, assuming you get the heat in them, are fantastic in the rain. They move a lot of water, but it's still that moment of trying to make sure that you have enough heat in the tires. As going to provisional pole, Gabe Perib, that didn't take the Ferrari of Atlanta driver too much time. He beats the best time of Lewis Flory by almost 2/10. Third was Jeffrey Nunberg. Great lap by Jeffrey the last time around as he's coming through turn 9. Let's see if he can better his time of 1:51 flat. I bet he can, as Lewis Flory responds back to P1. He jumps ahead by 0.05 of a second.
Super close at the top between them. Looking at it as well, no pole so far for Lewis. So Lewis has had one P2 in Daytona. Lewis had P2 and then won the race. So that must have been where we were calling him Louis. I say we, that's the royal we, me. So Lewis had a P2 in qualifying and a P1 in the race. So can Flory get his first pole of the season here? Would be stoked, I'm sure. Qualified 9th both races at Indy as well, so obviously really likes this circuit. 3 minutes 30 remaining, that's a couple of push laps if you're lucky. Everybody is doing personal best at the minute, except Nunberg didn't do he had a roll-off lap. It looked, no, maybe not.
No.
So Lewis had his best, Jeffrey's best was a 1:51.0, did a 1:51.3 last time. At the minute, everybody else on personal bests. So we know there's pace in the tyres until late in the session.
Lance Colley knows that too. He's a man who's run at this track quite a few times in Ferrari Challenge. Every time Lance Colley manages to get a podium, it's as bit as if it's a public holiday. And one of the most fun times was during COVID. He got a podium at his home track at Road Atlanta. His entire team, you would have thought it was his 60th birthday, and they were throwing a huge cake party
Really?
for him. Oh my goodness. You could hear the cheering from outer space. It was fantastic.
That's what we need. That's what we need. More enthusiasm, people. Come on, get fired up when you get a result.
Let's see if maybe we can find yet another podium finish for Lance Colley. He's had a top 5 so far this year, but he hasn't made it onto that tri-step yet. Lance Colley looking with a very solid lap, making the hard right-hand turn, coming onto the front straight.
See if it's an improvement. He was 2.4 off as he comes down over the line.
49.9.
Yeah,
Best
1.8.
his time, but not his position.
Yeah, 6/10 quicker as well. Just needs to find another couple to get in front of Gabe Hrib, but at the minute he'll probably be focusing a bit on Nürnberg as well because he'll want to remain on row 2. That's the key, really. Try and be on row 2. The further back into traffic you get, the more alarming things get down in turn one. Danny Patel, this is his first season. Made his debut at Daytona, which was his childhood racetrack. He's having an absolutely mega time. We saw him yesterday, didn't we, as well, in Casa Ferrari. Nice livery, Danny. Good effort.
Beautiful.
That looks great.
It really does.
It does. It pops, doesn't it? I like that.
Fantastic use of chrome on black with the blue. He was late coming out for the qualifying session, though. Spent the first 9 minutes and 15 seconds in the pit lane.
He's had a few issues. So he's had some electrical issues, he was saying. Bought the car at the start of this year, and he's just had the last round, or maybe just here in testing. Said the team were changing stuff bit by bit. They were being really methodical about it, and he then had a whole session with no problems, and then just at the end he had another little fault. So electrical gremlins are always hard to find on any race car, but the team doing an absolutely brilliant job to get him out, and now he's got to get in a good lap pretty quickly, isn't he?
Hey, he might win the award for best livery of a car.
Yeah.
This class definitely stands out there in the top 5, I'd say. As he comes around, this is his first flying lap. He'll get one more as there's 50 seconds to go in the session. Moves himself up to P12, so good effort from Danny Patel on that first lap. More pressure's on when you don't have the opportunities to set in all the laps, but that could work in his favor. And as we were talking about tire wear for the race, he's going to have fresher tires at the end of the race than everyone else.
He got a Q11 at Daytona, qualified 11th at his first race, got qualified 4th the following day. But bearing in mind that was his first ever race meeting, he'd been doing some track stuff prior to that. They missed one of their qualifying sessions in Miami where he also raced because we had a red flag, so that was done on championship order, but he qualified 5th there as well. So he's had a 4th and a 5th, so Patel in P12 at the moment is capable of going quicker, but has one more flying lap to do it.
Another one of our newbies to the championship is Michael Owens with Ferrari of Alberta. Purple and green livery
Also
on his
cool.
car. Very good. Reminds me of some famous liveries. I'm actually thinking of that of Dave Musial with the Joker, because very similar color scheme, just missing the giant white face on the side of the car. But Michael, who's had a very good season, he's in second in the championship, 16 points behind Gabe Hrib. That is definitely within grasp of attaining 2 poles on the season as well for Michael. So can he find some speed as Louis Flory is into the pit lane?
A win and 2 seconds as well for Owens, so definitely has the pace. Patel still out. Has Patel backed off? No, not just yet. There's Hrib with him as well. So Gabe Hrib, who's our championship leader down in P4. Gabe's had 2 poles this year, but everywhere else has qualified. I mean, only Daytona was he Q6. Most of the time he's been Q2 or Q3 in terms of his position in qualifying. So down over the line now. Patel improves to 7th of Gabe Hrib. So that's great by Patel. 2 laps, P12 and P7 in 2 laps is really impressive. Hrib is in P4, so row 2.
Yep, very impressed with that effort from Patel as Louis Flory is already out of his machine with his helmet off. We wait for the last few cars to come around, although I don't think Lance Colley will be able to steal away a pole position. Melissa Kozira comes across the line and cements P6. Excellent job for her. Colley coming into the pits. Nürnberg takes the checkered flag on the track, which means congratulations to Louis Flory. You are our pole sitter for race number 1.
Yeah, brilliant result for Flory. So his first pole of the year as well. 2 wins, a P2 and a P3 in terms of podium positions. But yeah, Lewis is flying. Right, Lewis, talking to Lewis Flory, he's down now with Nina Jade. Pole, first time this year.
Lewis Flory, first pole of the season. How does that feel for you?
Oh, absolutely tremendous. There's so much that goes into this. The team, the coach, friends and family support you. And then at the end of the day, you just got to start believing in yourself. And, as we've talked about, it's my first season racing. And it's just been, I'm just trying to build up inch by inch. And I'm so grateful to be racing with some great competitors, good guys. They've become good friends. And we're actually cheering one another along. So it's been a lot of fun.
You talked about how much commitment this track takes. Me and you had a conversation yesterday. You have to go flat out, and if you don't have that commitment, you just won't get the lap time. How did that feel out there?
Right now the track is in excellent condition, but you're right. Every guy that's driven this track, and lady, they know, really your lap starts with turn 11. You got to come out of there committed, coming flat out, coming out 11, coming at the wall. If you don't, you're starting to cross finish line already behind your lap time. Then you've got to get it just into one at the apex with very little grip left, and then have the commitment to go flat on the gas, not lift all the way to the bus stop. If you can't get that part right, there's nothing else you could do the rest of the lap to make up for it. And it is, every time I go through there, it's still terrifying.
Well, you got it right today, Lewis. Well done. Congratulations. Hope you go well on the race.
Let's look forward to it. Thank you, guys. See you guys.
Epic job by Lewis Flory. You're seeing here a wonderful super slow-mo. Look at this through the bus stop chicane again. Brilliant lap by him. His first pole of the year. And his first season racing at this level as well. Absolutely fantastic job. Overcame his little fears that you had of the issue that you had last year to set that brilliant lap. And it is Lewis Flory on the pole from Michael Owens, Lance Cooley P3. Gabe Hribb, your championship leader, is in P4. Then Jeffrey Nunberg, Melissa Kozira gets 6th. Danny Patel 7th with 2 laps. Very impressive. Ed Vartugin down in 8th. Helen Chu, Jeffrey Keel, Tom Petromolo, Henry Hummel, Ram Chada and Anthony DiCarlo down to P14. No time for DiCarlo. One more qualifying session to come. We've got the drivers from Coppa Shell up next. We had our onboard lap earlier on with Jan Bernier, who's just left your picture at the bottom of the screen. It is a decent championship fight between Bernier and Mitchell Green. Bernier stole a little bit of a march last time out at Indy when Mitchell had a not great run in the first of the races. Was very unhappy with his performance and has been full focus, has been driving a lot of different machinery here this week in preparation for it. And looking forward to seeing who comes out on top of this one. Looking how relaxed Bernier was on board as well. Should be a great fight between them.
Yeah, it will be. And we mentioned Mitchell Green, another driver out on the track now who had a bit of time this morning, is Lisa Clark. Both of them are running in the special extra sessions where they have cars that are just a little bit outside of the regulations. Ferraris, of course, but they're just getting that little bit of extra fun. They were out there for about an hour this morning.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to dial yourself in. Get some more track time, figure out what the conditions are like. And now, yes, we are 4 sessions later as far as track running is concerned, but you already know what the track looks like, and mentally you're in a different position.
You're in the zone. Yeah, you're already going quickly, aren't you? Already nailing those braking zones. Mitchell's slightly deep of the third of the 4 apexes on this warm-up lap. He won't be too concerned about that. Excited to see how this one goes down. That is Jarrett Bilacek, I think.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Bilacek, we had a lovely chat with yesterday. Jarrett was saying, I'm still learning, wasn't he? Just saying about sticker tyres.
Yeah, saying that it's difficult for him even to try and get the best out of the tire. By the end of the stint, he's still learning how the Pirelli progresses. And he said, you put stickers on the car or you give me used tires, I'm probably going to go faster on the used tires as the session progresses. And that's what this is all about. This is learning how to move up. And first season running in full time, and he's just having a blast, really clicking well with his organization, Ferrari of Central Florida, and getting a lot of help from Triarsi Competizione. It seems like it's a good fit for him.
Yeah, and we felt a really mature attitude towards it as well, towards the learning side of things, of accepting what he's trying to learn and not trying to run before he can walk.
Yeah, understanding the limitations and maybe the personally set boundaries. It's really good to see somebody temper themselves and to have that understanding of, all right, I'm not there yet. I can be, but I need to do X, Y, and Z first. It's a really mature attitude towards racing. First laps are done, and John Viskup is the one who goes to the top of the charts first, a 150.169. good lap from John. He's a guy who I've really enjoyed watching over the last couple of years. Third in the Coppa Shell Championship last year with a few podium finishes. I think it was 4 total, but consistently in the top 5, and a driver who was always, always, always quick.
So top 3 at the moment with separated by 4 seconds. That's because everybody's still kind of warming up. Nobody on more than 2 laps just yet.
What a shot from the
It's
drone,
great,
though,
isn't it?
looking straight into the engine compartment of the 488. As Viskup gets some traffic on this lap in the form of Bilicek.
Yeah, you've got to decide what to do at that point, haven't you? Whether you bail on the lap and give yourself some breathing space, or try to make a pass and get in front. Concertina effect on the brakes. Tough to see really where people are much quicker. And there's the track limits again, but as I say, that bit not being policed, so everybody is using just the extra 6-8 feet of track.
Roy Carroll, the only car that has yet to set a time in this session, showing as being in the pit lane. Maybe just adjusting the tire pressures for Roy before he goes back out and sets a flyer.
Ott's gone quickest. Viskup, Parker and Waltersdorf your top 4 at the minute. 1.4 across the top 3, so pace is starting to hot up now. Bilicek up to P3 and Viskup up to the top. Then immediately Jan Bernier. So Jan Bernier goes quicker by 2 seconds than Viskup. Waltersdorf slots in between. Mitchell Green goes quickest. Now we're talking 0.4 of a second between Green and Bernier. The top 8 there must have changed within 5-6 seconds. We're on lap number 3. Tyres are up to temperature. Confidence is high. The only thing I would say, look at this. Looking for a move. Bernier on the inside line. Nicely done. Given up cleanly. Everybody crossing the line that closely together means they're all in traffic, and I would have thought, Shay, they would have liked to have looked for a little bit more space than that.
Yep, they're all in traffic, and the other thing is they're all blocking each other, but they're all getting drafts off of each other too, so they're able to gain the slight advantage through some parts of the track. It's just when you carry more speed into the corner than the car ahead of you that things start to get a little bit iffy.
So Bernier behind Bilicek now, got to try and find a way through here, especially if he's on a flyer. All looks to the inside. Bilicek, though, shuts the door. Now leaves it a little more open for Bernier, so he's aware of Bernier, lets him go. Good stuff from Jarrett there. It will have cost them both on this lap, but Bernier now's got some clear track in front, and I think it's just a case of trying to go for it. And also for Bilicek, this is a good opportunity to follow the guy who's at the top of the standings, and following a driver can just teach you one little thing they're doing differently than you in one corner, and that's a massive bonus.
Yeah, it really is. And they've got the Heart of Racing on Jan Bernier's car for Team Seattle, Ferrari of Seattle. That, once again, is an organization partnered with a hospital in the Seattle area, raising money for children. It's a beautiful organization. They do a lot of racing, do the Heart of Seattle. And their race this year at Watkins Glen in the GTD category resulted in a 1st place. So
that's cool.
They're looking to try and keep this string of results alive. And Jan Bernier realizes he's got the right people supporting him, and he, more importantly, is supporting the right cause.
Very cool. Gary Ott, who's sitting in P2 at the moment, just a 10.5 off the pole. So at the minute, Bernier would be on row 2, and I think he'd be keen to get up onto row 1 with his big rival, Mitchell Green. Look at the gap from Bernier back to Waltersdorf at the minute. There's some room for some people to slot in there, aren't there? There really is. It's 1.3 between P3 and P4, and only 0.4 off the top 3. So effectively 3 times the top 3 would fit in the gap between 3rd and 4th. There's a big old gap there for people to slot into. But with 3 minutes 29 remaining, they've got to get on with it.
And I think that goes back to the issue that you brought up just a few moments ago, Andrew, the traffic. They're blocking each other, and they're finding that they're not able to go when they need to at certain points around the lap.
Maybe a little bit more awareness needed at the very start of the session to try and find space. But it's tough, isn't it? You want to be that front guy. You pull out a pit lane. And then if you say, well, you go slow to try and make a gap, and a few people pass you, and if they're not as quick as you, that's a nightmare too. So you end up in the train. It's tough. 12 minutes is not very long.
No, it's not, and especially when there's 13 cars out on the track, that definitely plays into factor. As Gary Ott now is our fastest car. He goes through at 146.898. What can Mitchell Green do in response as Jan Bernier goes very wide through turn 9? See, that's what I was talking about with track limits at the exit of turn 9.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. So there is no room for track limits on the exit of turn 9. Very definitely not. Bernier must be on a push lap. If he's not, he's a madman. So comes through through the final corner. Bernier, does he go quicker than Ott or not? He doesn't. He stays in P3, so that's not his quickest lap. So him and Mitchell Green have both got a little bit of work to do. I'm trying to see.
His last lap was a 47.6 compared to his best lap of a 47.4, so he's still pushing very hard. Is out on the track is Andrew Parker. Another argument on my book for favorite livery, he's got ice cream on the side of his car. Parker with an ice cream shop represented by 2 women. I love it. And beautiful ice creams on the side. Very enticing. Once again, this part of the world quite known for ice cream cones. So
There's been a lot of ice cream chat. I'm feeling that we might need a little ice cream. But there is ice cream in Casa Ferrari?
there's gelato in Casa Ferrari.
Yeah, we could go for that. Okay.
Might need to happen.
Yeah, maybe some lunch first. Let's do things in the right order. You know, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Talking of which.
Thank you, Genevieve.
Yes. Delivered right on cue.
Out on track, they continue to push as we have a minute and a half to go in this qualifying session. Gary Ott with a cool-down lap, 3 seconds off his fastest time, but not on a cool-down lap, Mike Luley. Welcome back to Mike Luley. This man has been in Ferrari Challenge for 30 years. Last year, we talked to him at Circuit of the Americas, and he was really upset. He needed to have some surgery, and he said, you know what? I told the doctors I can do it. I'm happy. It's fine. But I'm doing a Ferrari Challenge weekend first. I've got a streak to keep alive.
We got a message from him this morning saying he started in 95. So he's driven the 348, the 355, the 360, the 430, the 458, the 488, and now the 296. I have competitively raced every challenge car. He won the 355 and the 360 championships as well in 2006. We think he's the longest serving Ferrari challenge driver in the world. And I just think that is how epic to have raced this incredible brand of cars for that many years. We've gone through all the different cars. Incredible.
It really is. And you can tell that Mike Luley likes the 296. It really suits his driving style. A very similar livery on his cars for at least the last decade. And he's a guy that every time you see him in hospitality, everyone knows him. Everyone goes over and talks to him. It's just wonderful to have him back again.
Isn't it? He would have seen generations of drivers come through, and some of them, youngsters will have gone on to race for factory teams and so on. Yeah, I love it. Brilliant representative. So thank you very much, Mike, for a brilliant career, and hopefully not done yet. You know, stick around. We might get another generation or two of cars in.
Exactly, as Mike Luley is the first driver to see the checkered flag, and he qualifies in the 9th position. It's still Gary Ott as the fastest driver out on the track. Second is Mitchell Green, and third, this man, Jan Bernier. What can Jan do? Can he steal away pole position, and more importantly, points for pole position?
Or could he get front row as well? I think front row, if Mitchell Green's on the front row and he's not, that's a little disadvantage for Bernier. But it's hard for us to tell whether he's quit the lap or not. If he feels he's made any mistakes he may have done. So hard to read. Still aggressive on the steering input, so I would suggest there's still a bit of a push going on here. Okay, Bernier, what's the lap time? 146.8 is the target. No, I think he's off. I think he's off, and he's coming in the pits. So Bernier then quits. The last lap wasn't going to do the job, so Gary Ott and Mitchell Green are on the front row. They're still out, we think, on circuit at the minute, but whether or not anybody is still pushing or not, your guess is as good as ours. Lisa Clark, P11.
I love Lisa's livery this year. It's very American with the red, white, and blue, or British, I suppose, for you as well, Andrew.
Yeah, it works. Kind of French. I mean, you know,
kind of French, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's I like it.
But for Lisa Clark running in this championship again, she loves driving a Ferrari Challenge car. She's been here for so many years, won the championship a few years back in the Coppa Shell AM category. What a phenomenal battle that was a few years back. And the people she was fighting against, it was just great competition week in and week out. She's been in Coppa Shell. This is her 2nd year in this category. And we look to see Lisa on the podium once again, as also coming into the pit lane. I don't think Joe Sposato is going to stay out for another flying lap, as it looks as if he's backed off just a tiny bit. Yes, he's already seen the checkered flag. So that will be a 3rd career pole position and 2nd this year for Gary Ott out of Ferrari of Philly. I know he's got a big fan base back home, so congratulations to Gary, and very well done.
Absolutely. Couple of duff results, wasn't it? One in Sonoma and one in Daytona, which has just seen him slightly behind the battle for the lead in the standings. But another brilliant, consistent season with a couple of thirds and a couple of seconds as well. Still looking for that win. And that's a great place to be looking for it from.
No
Come
better
on, Gary.
view.
Come on, Gary. Always see Gary with a smile on his face in Casa Ferrari. Yes, look.
And the best option for him will be that he starts from first overall in the race. There's nobody in front of him, and that celebration tells you just how much this means to him.
Qualifying done then for Coppa Shell. Gary Ott on the pole from Mitchell Green by just over a tenth of a second. Jan Bernier another tenth of a second back. Then it's Brian Waltersdorf. Look at the top three and the gap they've got. They're very quick indeed. Brad Evans, Andrew Parker, John Viscup, Jarrett Bilacek, P8. Nice job. And then we have Mike Luley, Joe Spasato, Lisa Clark, Mike Chen, Joel Rose, Roy Carroll down to 14th, and no time there for Roy Carroll. So a few drivers not getting the laps in towards the end of the session. It is a beautiful day here in upstate New York, Watkins Glen. We're on weekend number 5 of Ferrari Challenge North America. And there we go. They're posing for pictures down there already. And he's looking very happy indeed. Look at that. Great stuff. Love to see it. Oh, now that's where. Look at that. There's the lunch area. That's the tailgate area, I believe.
We'll be right there, guys.
Yeah,
Throw a
we'll.
few brats on for us.
Yeah, line us up something decent. We're coming down. That's how to go watching motor racing, isn't it? You know, you get your tent, get your table set up, get the barbecue on the go. I mean, or you can go to Casa Ferrari.
I was going to say, or the building on the right is how you go racing.
We are pretty lucky to be able to head down to Casa Ferrari. Beautiful selection of cars out there. Look at Gary. Look at Gary. He's stoked, isn't he?
Ear to ear grid.
There we go. That is down in front of Casa Ferrari. Wonderful view, I say, of coming up the hill through the S's, just at the top of your picture there. Beautiful, beautiful place to go racing. Certainly looking beautiful today. Have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. As I say, it might look a little bit different. We'll still be having a lot of fun, but I don't think you'll be having lunch outside tomorrow. Let's see. What are we doing?
Gary is going to be having a good celebration. I would imagine he will be getting some gelato with lunch. Definitely well earned, and a really good day for that entire crew in the organization. Ferrari of Philadelphia, well represented, I think it's fair to say, by Gary Ott.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looks splendid down there, doesn't it? It really does. Nina Jady's making her way up pit road. Pit road is long here. It is the entire run between turn 11 and turn 1. So we're just heading up to try and find Gary. Now, there's a great shot of the S's. We've got some great angles here giving you the elevation change because you just don't see it. And that gives you an idea where the track looks so thin in the middle of the picture is the steep uphill section. Into the left-hander at the top of the hill. So that's all flat through there on stickers. Maybe not later in the race, but on sticker tyres, if you're quick, it should be flat from the exit of turn 1 all the way through 2, 3 and 4 up the straight to 172 miles an hour and braking up to the bus stop chicane. Somebody who must have got all that bang on is Gary Ott, who is with Nina Jade Paul.
Gary Ott, pole at Watkins Glen, this iconic track. How did you master the elevation changes, the high-speed straights, the technical sections?
I don't know that you could say that I mastered it. You could say that I finally did it. My coach had me out here at 7 o'clock this morning, and I walked up and down from 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 3, you know, too many times. But once you do it, you can do it. And I never thought I'd catch up to those guys. We're all so tight. It's always the three of us, and it's going to be a great race. I'm just really fortunate to have found that lap, and I feel great about it. Yeah.
I would say you certainly did master it. You are starting P1, Gary. What would a win mean to you here?
Oh, be everything, right? Yeah. Here's what I need to do. I need to start the race correctly, right? I gave up a P1 in Indy, and so that's our next focus, point of focus. Nice, safe, clean, fast turn 1.
Congratulations. Go well.
Thank you.
One job at a time, Shay. He's got the first job done, which is getting the pole position, and now he's just got to get that next job done of nailing the start on Indy. He was a little bit too not aggressive enough at the start, and he'll want to get that right today.
He will, and I like to see the "Thanks, Kathy" written on the hood of the car.
Cool,
We need to find out who Kathy is. I'm going to assume it's his wife, but yeah, very, very pleased to see the smile on that man's face, and very humble as well, saying, we didn't necessarily get the perfect lap, but I got one lap where it's okay. I haven't mastered it yet.
It was good enough. So Gary Ott with a great lap for pole. 4 pole sitters all sorted for Pirelli, Pirelli AM, Shell and Shell AM. If you'd like to join us later on today, it's 13:55. That's 1:55 Eastern time for the pre-show, and 2:25 for the actual start of the first of the 2 races. Both races today and tomorrow. You can catch all of it live online. My thanks to Nina J. Poole and Shay Adam. I'm Andrew Coley, and we'll see you later on today for some fantastic racing from Watkins Glen.